What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's UFC 308 fight week, and in this video we're taking a look at the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker. We're going to be breaking down this fight, and I'm going to be giving you guys my reasons as to why I believe Robert Whittaker will come out on top in this matchup. Let's get into it. Recently, Robert Whittaker has been on a tear. His last time out, he fought Ikram Aliskerov, who fought in place of Khamzat Chimaev. Chimaev pulled out last time these two were scheduled. Ikram came in, and a lot of people were still saying, you know what, Ikram's got a chance. He's a Dagestani. He has the style to beat Rob, but they were proven wrong. And Whittaker came out there and finished Ikram in the very first round. Before that, Rob picked up a win over Paulo Costa, and he has looked good in all of his recent performances, besides his last loss to Dricus du Plessis. But since then, Rob's been on kind of a tear, and he's coming into this fight as an underdog against Khamzat Chimaev. And that might be for good reason too, because Khamzat is obviously a dog. Last time out, he fought Kamaru Usman in a 3-round fight that he looked dominant in, don't get me wrong. But if that fight was 5 rounds, that outcome could have been different. Khamzat hasn't fought in over a year now, and he tried to get in there with Rob before. He was sick, he had to pull out, and honestly, it's a shame because Khamzat seems to be one of these guys that is a massive name and could be a very big star in this sport, but injuries and other things outside of the octagon have kept him away and kept him from beating a consistent fighter. Right now, Khamzat's way too streaky in his career to be a big superstar. And yes, this fight with Robert Whittaker is a #1 contenders fight, 100%. He has to go out there and put on a statement and prove to everybody that he is still a guy that everybody should be talking about. So obviously the main thing with Khamzat is the wrestling. He's one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. That's undeniable, and we saw that last time out against Kamaru when in that first round, he was tossing Usman around, and that says a lot because Kamaru Usman is an exceptional wrestler himself, so we know the guy is very talented and at 185. But Robert Whittaker in his career traditionally has had great takedown defense, bar the Dricus du Plessis fight, so I don't know. That is one thing to definitely consider when you look at this fight, that recently Rob hasn't looked good against a very good wrestler. And I'm not going to sit here and argue who's better between DDP and Khamzat, but either way, they're both elite wrestlers. And I'm banking on the fact that Khamzat is going to try to take Rob down and will probably be successful at some point in this fight. But the downside with Khamzat being such a good wrestler is that he drains himself very early in fights. In that Kamaru fight, he looked way too tired when things got late, and that's why a lot of people say if that was a 5-round fight, Khamzat wouldn't have been the one who came out on top because his cardio seems to diminish as the fights go on, and it's been a problem throughout his career, but because he's been so dominant and finishes a lot of dudes early on, you don't really see it too much. So I would definitely say that one thing to watch for Khamzat in this will be his cardio. Is his cardio good? Has it gotten better? Has he been able to improve in that area in order to go all 5 rounds with Rob? Because this fight is a 5-round fight. So this could have to go to 25 minutes if neither guy can get the finish. And I don't know. I personally still have doubts that Khamzat can go all 25 at a high level, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. Looking at Bobby Knuckles on the other side, though, Robert Whittaker is a complete mixed martial artist. He has wrestling, and he's a great striker. And it's a tough matchup for Khamzat because of that. Because Rob, yes, he probably will get taken down, but he's not going to panic in that situation, and he'll try and find his way back up to the feet. And the more and more that happens, the less confident Khamzat is going to get as the fight goes on. I don't know how far these two are on the feet compared to each other. I think Rob is still a little bit of a better striker, but Khamzat isn't terrible himself. But I would still favor Rob in that department. So if Rob's getting up from Khamzat's takedowns and he's going on the front foot, applying pressure, that may do stuff to Khamzat's confidence. Whittaker is also very good at managing distance, and that's because in most of his fights, he ends up being the shorter guy with the smaller reach, and that's the same case here against Khamzat. But he is good at managing his distance, and if he can be on the back foot, kind of picking his shots and keeping Khamzat away from him, I could see him being very successful. Lately, we've seen Rob kind of go in there and do some of that, but he's been patient, but also very deadly. Like I said against Ikram, he popped Ikram with a nice shot and then went in there for the finish, and he was successful. Is that same thing going to happen to Khamzat? I'm not sure, but either way, he has to manage the distance and he has to be prepared for anything Khamzat throws at him. We've taken a look at each fighter's strengths and weaknesses. We've taken a look at the cardio. And now I got to tell you guys why I think Rob is going to be the one who wins this fight. And like I just mentioned, I think cardio plays a big factor in this one. I see Khamzat going in there in the first and second round and using a lot of energy to go all out at Rob, taking him down, trying to drag him into deep waters, potentially trying to throw up some submissions, and then not being successful. Then round 3 hits and Rob starts to take over a bit. He sees what Khamzat's doing, recognizes his motions, and then takes the fight into his hands from there. And round 3, 4, and 5 can go to Whittaker. I don't see Rob finishing Khamzat in this fight. I think if he is to win, he has to win on the scorecards, which is going to be tough because they're going to be in Abu Dhabi. But either way, if it is clear enough, you can't deny Rob of the win. And I think if he goes out there and he really paces himself in rounds 1 and 2, be's patient, doesn't let Khamzat get into his head or allow the takedowns to get into his head, he can go on and win this fight. Because let's face it, when you're fighting Khamzat Chimaev, there's a 99.9% chance you're probably going to get taken down in that fight. But it matters as to how you come back from that. Can you survive that? Can you go on and do your own things? That's going to be the big question in this one, and I think Rob will pass that test. So I am taking Robert Whittaker to win this fight via decision. Khamzat will lose his first professional fight, and I think Rob is just going to be too much for him in those later rounds. He needs to be patient, pace himself, and then he can go on and get the victory. Let me know what you guys think, though. Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. Who do you have winning, Khamzat or Rob? I want to hear. Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching this video, and be on the lookout for more breakdowns throughout the week. This card is absolutely amazing, and there's so many fights to talk about, and that's what I'm going to be doing right here. So thank you all for watching once again. I'll see you all in the next one.